You're looking at the old Spring Hill Cemetery in Brooksville, Florida. To most passers-by, it appears as little more than a forgotten burial ground. 3 sandy acres tucked beneath moss-draped oaks, hemmed in by woods that press close and quiet. But beneath these weathered stones and shallow depressions lies a history that was nearly erased. This is not just the story of a cemetery. It's the story of one of Florida's oldest African-American burial grounds, established in the 1840s for enslaved people, freedmen, veterans, and families whose lives were rarely documented and often deliberately ignored. It's also the story of loss layered upon loss, of records destroyed, names stripped away, and histories nearly swallowed by fire, neglect, and violence. This is a rescue mission, a reclamation of memory, a promise to speak the names, even when the stones no longer can. Our story begins in the 1840s and 1850s when Hernando County was still frontier land and slavery was woven into daily life. Burials began here during that era, though some markers may date even earlier, reaching back into the 1820s. Around the turn of the 20th century, the land is believed to have been formally donated by the Lykes family, a powerful presence in Brooksville's early history. From the beginning, the purpose of this place was clear and uncompromising. This was the burial ground for Brooksville's African American community. Segregation here was not subtle. It was enforced in geography. Directly across the street lies another cemetery from the same era, the Lykes Ayers Cemetery, often called the Confederate Cemetery, which we covered in the previous episode. That burial ground served the white population. This one served everyone else. The road between them became more than pavement. During the Jim Crow era, locals called it 17. Teenagers whispered stories of a ghostly patrolman who still walked that stretch at night, enforcing a boundary long after the law had changed. Elders said the real patrols never truly left. This division, etched into the landscape itself, mirrors the racial violence and oppression that shaped Brooksville for generations. Every historian knows this enemy well, the void, the place where a record should be. For Old Spring Hill Cemetery, that void was created in 1877 when the local courthouse burned to the ground. With it went death records, burial logs, and the names of countless people laid to rest here in the cemetery's earliest decades. We do not know how many people are buried here. We only know it is far more than we can count. When surveyors attempted documentation in the 1930s and 40s, they encountered a heartbreaking truth. Dozens upon dozens of sunken depressions in the sand, unmarked and unnamed. Today, at least 265 burials are recorded, but that number tells only part of the story. Many graves were never marked. Others lost their stones to time, vandalism, or poverty. Some surviving markers are stark in their cruelty. One, reportedly dating to the 1820s, identifies a man not by name, but by a number. Even in death, his identity reduced to property. The fire did not just destroy paper. It erased proof of existence, and that erasure became the central struggle of this place. Yet the ground does not remain silent. Through surviving documents, family histories, and weathered headstones, The voices of a resilient community begin to rise. The cemetery is the resting place of some of Hernando County's most prominent African American families, builders, educators, veterans, and leaders. Names like Mobley, Ingram, and Timmons are etched throughout the grounds. The Timmons family in particular appears again and again. In 1881, the Sunland Tribune reported that Jesse Timmons, described simply as colored of Brooksville, was shot and killed. His grave has never been conclusively identified, but multiple Timmons headstones from that era remain. Another family member, Will Timmons, reportedly owned a car in 1924, a visible symbol of prosperity. According to interviews with his niece, he was lynched that same year. But this ground also holds stories of tenderness. Near the center of the cemetery rests a small, humble marker, baby Eliza, aged 2 days, 1903. For more than a century, strangers have left toys at her grave, small cars, baby dolls, stuffed animals. No one tells them to do it, they just do. Grief recognizes itself. From community pillars to a child who barely drew a breath, these are the voices that endure. Hernando County's history after the Civil War is marked by extreme racial violence. Research by organizations such as the Equal Justice Initiative shows that it had one of the highest per capita lynching rates in Florida, described by one historian as astronomically high. Some of those victims are believed to rest here. The woods surrounding the cemetery carry their own dark lore. For decades, stories have circulated that the KKK used the areas for meetings and violence. One legend speaks of a hidden shed, a so-called slaughterhouse, deep in these trees. Whether every detail is fact or folklore, the stories themselves reflect a climate of terror that was very real. And the violations did not end with history books. The cemetery has been repeatedly targeted by vandals. Reports of satanic rituals, bonfires, drug use, and desecration surface again and again. In both 1982 and 2009, arrests were made after intruders broke into a crypt and disturbed human remains, one incident involving the theft of a skull. This ground has had to be defended for generations. When a place absorbs this much trauma, stories cling to it. Locals long avoided what they called simply the Old Black Cemetery. Over time, that fear gave rise to legend. Visitors claim that at dusk, a figure can sometimes be seen hanging from a tree limb, a spectral echo of the lynchings that once occurred here. Others report hearing a baby crying at night, often linked to baby Eliza and the many infants buried nearby. Paranormal investigators describe cold spots, shadow figures, and unexplained voices. Some say the cemetery feels peaceful. Others say it feels watchful. These stories are not just ghost tales. They are folklore born from pain. The hanging man is not just an apparition. He is a reminder. The crying baby is not just a sound. It is grief carried forward. Whether or not you believe in hauntings, the trauma here is undeniable. Across the country, historic and African American cemeteries are disappearing, lost to neglect, development, and silence. If you believe these stories matter, subscribe for more Forgotten Friday explorations, and tell us what stories are buried in your town, what histories deserve to be remembered. Let's become our own historians. From a segregated burial ground in the 1840s to a place of remembrance today, the old Spring Hill Cemetery stands as a monument to survival. Its records were burned. Its stones were broken. Its stories were nearly erased. And yet, here they are. This is hallowed ground, not because it is haunted, but because it holds truth. By telling its story, we are not reopening wounds. We are refusing to let them be forgotten. The promise still stands, and now it's been kept.